Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Deshatarani. Om Apavitra Pavitroba Sarva Avasthang Gatopiva Ya Smaret Pundarika Aksham Sabaya Abhyantara Suchihi. Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu. Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyana Anjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitang Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangdung Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamahang Mande Sri Gurung Dinataranam. Yat Kripatamahang Vande Parama Ananda Madhavam. Trinadapi Sunichena Torar Iba Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Kalo Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatir Anyata. Tatra Kirtayato Vipra, Viprasher Bhuri Tejasa. Ahang Chadyagamam Tatra Nivishtashtad Anugraha. Sutta Goswami told the sages of Naimisharanya, O learned Brahmanas, when Shukadeva Goswami recited Bhagavatam in the presence of Emperor Parikshit, I heard him with rapt attention, and thus by his mercy I learned the Bhagavatam from that great and powerful sage. So now I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I have learned it from him and as I have realized it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So last week, we began a new section entitled Shalva. We recall that Shalva was a friend of Shishupal, and Shalva was very much angry because Krishna had kidnapped Rukmini, who was supposed to be married to Shishupal. And so Shalva took a vow that because Krishna stole Rukmini from his friend, then he was going to attack the Yadu dynasty, destroy them, and also destroy Krishna. So we studied 3 episodes last week. We saw how Shalva performed very, very severe austerities and penances. And he did that in order to get a benediction from Ashutosh, Lord Shiva. And what did Shalva request from Lord Shiva? He wanted a very special flying city which could go anywhere, and it could be invisible if wanted. And so, as soon as he got the benediction from Lord Shiva, and this flying airplane was called Saubha. It was more like a flying city. So immediately Shalva attacked Dwaraka. And of course, now it's not mentioned directly, but at the time that Shalva attacked Dwaraka, Krishna was not there. He was with the Pandavas. So Shalva attacked Dwaraka, and as a result, the sons of Krishna, headed by Pradyumna and Samba, they counterattacked Shalva. But then Shalva had a special commander, Dyuman. And Dyuman put Pradyumna in a very precarious condition, striking him unconscious. And so Pradyumna's chariot driver, who was the son of Krishna's chariot driver, the son of Daruka, he took Pradyumna away from the battlefield. And when Pradyumna awoke from his unconscious state, he chastised his chariot driver that you have taken me from the battlefield, and now I will become the ridicule of all the queens, Krishna's wives, and everyone will criticize me and make fun of me. But the son of Daruka explained to Pradyumna most accurately, most correctly, that the chariot driver and the warrior have to work in cooperation. So the son of Daruka said, I had to take you away from the battlefield because you were about to be killed. So I did not violate any codes of Kshatriya Dharma. I did what I had to do. I had to protect you. So now we pick up in this first episode entitled Pradyumna Returns to the Battle. So after talking with his chariot driver, the son of Daruka, Pradyumna could now understand the real circumstances. Therefore Pradyumna refreshed himself by washing his mouth and hands, and after arming himself properly with bows and arrows, Pradyumna asked his chariot driver to take him near the place where Shalva's commander-in-chief was standing. During the short absence of Pradyumna from the battlefield, Shalva's commander-in-chief, Dyuman, had been taking over the positions of the soldiers of the Yadu dynasty. Appearing on the battlefield now, Pradyumna immediately stopped Dyuman and by smiling, shot 8 arrows at Dyuman. With 4 arrows, Pradyumna killed Dyuman's 4 horses, and with 1 arrow, Dyuman's chariot driver. With another arrow, Pradyumna cut Dyuman's bow into 2. With another, Pradyumna cut Dyuman's flag to pieces. And with the last arrow, Pradyumna severed Dyuman's head from his body. Jai Pradyumna! Meanwhile, on the other fronts, heroes like Gada, Satyaki, and Samba were killing the soldiers of Shalva. The soldiers staying with Shalva in the airplane were also killed in the fighting, and so they fell into the ocean. Each party began to strike the opposite party very severely in a fierce, dangerous battle which continued for 27 days without stopping. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the next episode is entitled Krishna to the Rescue. While the fight was going on in the city of Dwaraka, Krishna was staying at Indraprastha with the Pandavas and King Yudhishthir. This fighting with Shalva took place after the Rajasuya Yajna had been performed by Yudhishthir and after the killing of Shishupal. When Lord Krishna understood that there was a great danger in the city of Dwaraka, Krishna took permission from the elder members of the Pandava family and from his aunt Kunti Devi and started immediately for Dwaraka. Lord Krishna began thinking that while he was staying in Hastinapur with Balaram, after the killing of Shishupal, it must have been Shishupal's men who had attacked Dwaraka. But upon reaching Dwaraka, Lord Krishna could see that the whole city was greatly endangered. So Krishna placed Balaramaji in a strategic position for the protection of the city. And Krishna then asked his chariot driver, Daruka, to prepare to start. Krishna spoke to his chariot driver, "O Daruka, please immediately take me to where Shalva is staying. Although you may know that this Shalva is very powerful and mysterious man, you should not fear him in the least." So as soon as he got his orders from Lord Krishna, Daruka had Krishna seated on the chariot and quickly drove towards Shalva. The chariot of Lord Krishna was marked with the flag bearing the insignia of Garuda. And as soon as the soldiers and warriors of the Yadu dynasty saw that flag, they could very well understand that Lord Krishna was now on the battlefield. By this time, almost all the soldiers of Shalva had been killed. But when Shalva saw that Krishna had now come onto the battlefield, Shalva released a great powerful weapon which flew through the sky with a roaring sound like a great meteor. It was so bright that the whole sky was lit up by its presence. But as soon as Lord Krishna appeared, Krishna tore the great weapon into hundreds and thousands of pieces by releasing his own arrows. Krishna struck Shalva with 16 arrows, and with further showers of arrows, Krishna overpowered the airplane, just as the sun in the clear sky overpowers the whole sky by an unlimited number of molecules of sunshine. Then Shalva struck a severe blow to Krishna's left side, where Krishna carried his bow named Sharanga. And as a result, the Sharanga bow fell from Lord Krishna's hand. Now, this dropping of the bow was indeed wonderful. Great personalities and demigods who were observing the fighting between Shalva and Krishna were most perturbed by this, and they exclaimed, "Alas! Alas!" Shalva now thought that he had become victorious, and with a roaring sound, Shalva addressed Lord Krishna as follows: "You rascal Krishna! You kidnapped Rukmini forcibly, even in our presence. You baffled my friend Shishupal and married Rukmini yourself. And in the great assembly at King Yudhishthir's Rajasuya Yagya, while my friend Shishupal was a little absent-minded, you took the opportunity to kill him. Everyone thinks that you are a great fighter and that no one can conquer you. So now you'll have to prove your strength." I think that if you stand before me any longer with my sharp arrows, I shall send you to a place from where you will never return. Oh, you foolish Shalva! You are talking nonsensically. You do not know that the moment of death is already upon your head. Actual heroes do not talk much. Rather, they prove their prowess by practical exhibition of chivalrous activities. After saying this, in great anger, Lord Krishna struck Shalva on the collarbone with his club named Kaumodaki, and he did this so severely that Shalva began vomiting blood and he trembled. It appeared as if Shalva were going to collapse from severe cold. But before Krishna was able to strike Shalva again, however, Shalva became invisible by his mystic power. Within a few moments, a mysterious, unknown man then came before Lord Krishna, crying loudly. This unknown man bowed down at Krishna's lotus feet and began speaking. Oh, since you are the most beloved son of your father, Vasudeva, your mother Devaki has sent me to inform you of the unfortunate news that Shalva has arrested your father and taken Vasudeva away by force. He has done this just as a butcher mercilessly takes away an animal. When Lord Krishna heard this unfortunate news from the unknown man, at first Krishna became most perturbed, acting just like an ordinary human being. Indeed, Krishna's face showed signs of grief, and Krishna began crying in a piteous tone. How could this have happened? Oh, my brother Balaram is there, and it is impossible for anyone to conquer Balaramaji. Balaram is in charge of Dwaraka city, and I know that Balaram is always alert. How could Shalva have possibly entered the city and arrested my father Vasudeva in that way? Whatever Shalva may be, Shalva's power is limited. So, how could it be possible that Shalva has conquered the strength of Balaram and taken away my father, arresting Vasudeva as described by this man? Alas! Destiny is, after all, very powerful. And while Sri Krishna was thinking like this, Shalva brought before Krishna in custody a man exactly resembling Vasudeva, Krishna's father. But these were all creations of the mystic power of Shalva, however. Then Shalva addressed Krishna. You rascal, Krishna! Just look! This is your father Vasudeva, who has begotten you, and by whose mercy you are still living. Now, just see how I kill your father. If you have any strength, try to save Vasudeva. Speaking in this way before Lord Krishna, the mystic juggler, Shalva, immediately cut off the head of the false Vasudeva. Then, without hesitation, Shalva took away the dead body and got into his airplane. We should know that Lord Krishna is the self-sufficient, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet, because Krishna was playing the role of a human being, Krishna became very depressed for a moment, as if Krishna had actually lost his father. But at the next moment, Krishna could understand that the arrest and killing of his father were demonstrations of the mystic powers which Shalva had learned from the demon Maya Danava. Now, coming to his right consciousness, Krishna could see that actually there was no messenger and no head of his father, but instead, Shalva had only leapt in his airplane, which was flying in the sky. Krishna then began to think of slaying Shalva. When Shalva thought that Krishna had become bewildered by his mystic representations, Shalva became encouraged and began attacking Krishna with greater strength and energy by showering volleys of arrows upon Krishna. But the enthusiasm of Shalva can be compared to the speedy march of flies into a fire. By hurling his arrows with unfathomable strength, Lord Krishna injured Shalva, whose armor, bow, and jeweled helmet all scattered into pieces. With a crashing blow from Krishna's club, Kaumodaki, Shalva's wonderful airplane burst into pieces and fell into the sea. Shalva was very careful, and instead of crashing along with his airplane, Shalva managed to jump onto the land. Again, Shalva rushed towards Krishna. When Shalva ran swiftly to attack Krishna with his own club, Krishna cut off Shalva's hand, which fell to the ground along with the club. Finally deciding to kill Shalva, Krishna took up his wonderful disc, which shone like the brilliant sun at the time of dissolution of the material creation. When Lord Krishna stood up with his chakra to kill Shalva, Krishna appeared just like a mountain with the red sun rising over it. Lord Krishna then cut off Shalva's head, and the head with its earrings and helmet fell to the ground. Jai Sri Krishna! Jai Sri Krishna! Jai Sri Krishna! Shalva was thus killed in the same way that Vritra Asura was killed by Indra, the king of heaven. When Shalva was killed, all of his soldiers and followers cried, "Alas! Alas!" And while Shalva's men were thus crying, the demigods from the heavenly planets showered flowers on Krishna, announcing the victory by beating drums and blowing bugles. At this very moment, other friends of Shishupal, such as Dantavakra, appeared on the scene to fight with Krishna and avenge the death of Shishupal and others. The Acharyas comment as follows on this episode. Krishna's reaction is controversial point among great authorities and saintly persons. How could Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all power and knowledge, be bewildered in such a way? Lamentation, aggrievement, and bewilderment are characteristics of conditioned souls. But how can such things affect the person of the Supreme, who is full of knowledge, power, and opulence? Actually, it is not at all possible that Krishna was misled by the mystic jugglery of Shalva. Krishna was displaying his pastime in playing the role of a human being. Great saintly persons and sages who are engaged in devotional service of lotus feet of Krishna and who have thus achieved the greatest perfection of self-realization have transcended the bewilderments of the bodily concept of life. Lord Krishna is the ultimate goal of life for such self-realized saintly persons. So how then could Krishna have become bewildered by the mystic jugglery of Shalva? The conclusion is that Lord Krishna's bewilderment was simply another opulence of Krishna's Supreme Personality. All the great Bhagavatam commentators conclude that grief, illusion, attachment, and fear, which arise out of ignorance of the soul, can never be present in the transcendental dramatic pastimes enacted by Krishna. There are many examples of Krishna's pastimes illustrating this point. For instance, when the cowherder boys entered the mouth of Asura, Lord Krishna was also apparently momentarily astonished. Similarly, when Lord Brahma took away Lord Krishna's cowherder boyfriends and calves, at first Krishna began to look for them as if Krishna did not know where they were. Therefore, Krishna plays the part of an ordinary human being so as to relish transcendental pastimes with his devotees. So one should never think that the personality of Godhead is an ordinary person. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namaste Narasimhaya, Prahlada Klada Dayane, Hiranya Kashi Puravakshaha, Shilatanganakalaya, Ito Nrsinga Parato Nrsingho, Yato Yato Yami Tato Nrsingha, Bahir Nrsingho Hridaye Nrsingho, Nrsingham Adin Sharanam Prapadye, Nrsingham Adim Sharanam Prapadye, Nrsingham Adim Sharanam prapadye Tavakara kamala vare Nakam adbhuta sringam Dalita hiranyakashiputtanubringam Keshavadrita narahadi rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Nrsimha Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Jaya Jagadisha Jaya Jagadisha Hare Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Tat Sat